Are we good to go, Kim?
Hubba. Sorry, in English. Hubba.
A warm welcome back to the Information Security Stack, together with me, Daniel Gustafsson, and Kim Hindart.
Hubba.
As a winter holiday tradition, we have gifts to give, of course, to you who've been listening to this now for almost a year. Now, the English pod has not been active as long as the Swedish pod, but we're pushing a year with the English pod as well, which is really interesting and really fun. And hopefully you have been enjoying the content that we have been giving you during this time. And of course, we're going to give you some presents before the holidays here. And we like books. And we like to read books or listen to books if you rather prefer to do that. So we're going to give you some book tips and suggestions that might be of relevance for you to listen to or read during this holiday break that is coming up. Especially when we're sitting alone. Even if you were sitting with your family, it's still gonna be different this year. Let's just agree on that. So we're going to give you 4 suggestions, 4 tips, 4 gifts in terms of books that we believe are relevant for the things that we have been talking about for the last year. And I'm going to start off. The first book suggestion and gift I will give to you is a book called Extreme Ownership. It's written by 2 Navy SEALs, or former, I should say, Navy SEAL officers called Jocko Willink and Leif Babin. They've been both in the U.S. Navy and U.S. Navy SEALs for, I think, like 17 or 18 years each. They were in for a long time, and they were both officers, and they served in both Iraq and Afghanistan. This book is about Jocko Willink's and Leif Babin's biggest failure in that period of time. Whenever you are in a situation of leading people, whenever you and me, Kim, when we are leading people in our work, the chances of someone dying because of our mistakes is very low. Slim to none, I would say. Hopefully. Some might get hurt emotionally. Some might get hurt from a career perspective. That can happen should we make a mistake. But someone will probably not die. When you're in the military and you are an officer in the military and you're leading people into battle, and you've actually been part of this before, you have a military background, so you can speak to this. The chances of someone getting killed and dying is profound. It is enormous should you make a mistake. And this is exactly what happened in this specific case. So Jocko Willink and Leif Babin will explain to you in this book how the incident happened, where it was a so-called blue on blue, meaning their own military forces killed each other in an accident, essentially. They got in the line of fire from each other, and they accidentally killed their own peers. This was, of course, a massive tragedy, and Jocko Willink and Leif Babin could easily have said it was someone else's fault. But they decided to say, no, it was my fault. I was responsible for the plan. I was responsible for the way we acted. I was responsible for the way we conducted our business. I am responsible for this accident. And if you want to read a book where you will start to question yourself in terms of, have I actually owned up to my own mistakes in my life? I highly suggest you read this. It is extremely, extremely good reading. It pushes buttons within you that is tough, really hard, because they really question how much are you willing to sacrifice for your own integrity and your own self-being, essentially. Standing up saying, I'm responsible for someone else's death is a pretty big deal. And this is exactly what they did. That's called leadership, my friends. And I highly suggest Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink and Leif Babin. It's awesome.
I really like books where they talk more about their mistakes and how they own their mistakes. A lot of books today is about success stories, and I can understand that it reads a lot better, success stories. But from a learning perspective, I think it's great to see people's extreme failures as well and read
Mm,
about them. So I think that's a great thing when you're just not talking about, oh, this was so successful here and so successful here. So I think that's
mm,
great from a learning perspective. So
it is. It's an awesome book. And Jocko Willink is just one of the most amazing people I ever come across in any sense. He is extreme in any way, shape, or form. The way he lives his life is not for everyone, to be honest. He wakes up 4:30 in the morning every day of the week, 365 days a year. And the first thing he does, he goes up and he works out every morning, 4:30.
mm,
That's that's leading yourself to begin with. Let's start in that end. So I just highly suggest it. Kim, your first book suggestion.
yeah, and now it's more a suggestion about an author. One of
Mm-hmm.
my favorite authors is Brené Brown. She's an amazing researcher into human behavior and human development and leadership. So she has written a series of books, all with the same topic, but the one I would recommend now for Christmas is uh, one of her most recent books. It's called Dare to Lead. Even though she has written a lot of books, I would suggest that you start with Dare to Lead because I think Dare to Lead summarizes her books up to this point very well in one summarized, nice book, um, easy to digest, and very insightful. Dare to Lead. The braving inventory we're talking about and have been talking about the last weeks comes directly from that book, Dare to Lead. So Brené Brown is a really great, interesting author. She has really insightful things to uh, uh, teach,
Mm-hmm.
and I highly recommend just watching her TED Talks to start with.
Mm.
But I would say start with Dare to Lead. Then I would say that there are two other books written before Dare to Lead, but I would still recommend that you take them on if you like Dare to Lead. You can read the book Daring Greatly and the book Gift of Imperfection.
Mm.
So it's not just a single book tip here. I know it's a bunch of authors, but she's written a lot more books. But these
Mm.
are the books I would highly recommend that connects very well to the things we're talking about here in this about human behavior, development, leadership. So start with Dare to Lead.
Mm.
Read Daring Greatly and Gift of Imperfection as well.
Mm.
It's very nice and yeah. So,
No, I agree. She's cool. And once again, if we, as you said regarding Jocko Willink, I like this is the same thing. This She talks a lot about her own failures and things that she can improve and things that she actually where she failed and learned something, because the whole thing of failing is learning. You have to learn from your mistakes, and she does that in a very good manner. I think she's, a lot of her books have the word brave in it, and I think it's a reason to it. But I like it a lot. But to your point, she has a series of books. So if you have a long holiday break, you have tons of books to look into from her.
you can never really go wrong reading anything from Brené Brown. It's always nice to read. But if you're to select one, I would suggest start with Dare to Lead.
I concur. I concur. Following up with our third book suggestion, it has, and you might see a trend here. We talk a lot about leadership and group dynamics because, information security is very much correlating with the group dynamics and leadership in general. The third book I would like to suggest to you is called Create Effective Teams. It is written by two Swedish psychologists, are they?
Yes.
They
Yeah.
are both, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yes,
they're
they're
working
both.
with team development and psychology in general, called Maria Åkerlund and Christian Jakobsson. And they wrote this book quite recently, or just a couple of months after, I believe, Susan Whelan passed away. So Susan Whelan has credits in this book as well, because she is, as you might know, she's the grandmother of group dynamics in general. So her research is the foundation for this book. And the great thing about this book is not really a literature that you just read and then you close and then you're done. It's more like a guidebook. It's a guidebook tool. It's a tool to you that you can use in any type of situations when you are coaching, managing, handling teams. Could be at work, could be with your local hockey team or your soccer team or whatever it might be, or it could be just your family, coaching your own family. And this book handles all the 4 stages that we have been talking about earlier in the podcast regarding group dynamics. And you can correlate to those stages, and you can use it as a manual, as a guidebook to what tools could I use here to improve my team or help my team. So it's an awesome tool for any leader out there.
Yes. And when we are talking a lot about the group stages and building culture, the interesting part is Brené Brown and Maria have the same comes to the same conclusion based on different research.
Mm.
So there's no workarounds. Every group will go through the different phases. They might call them different things in different models. We like to follow Susan Whelan's model and call them different stages, 1, 2, 3, and 4. But that said, all the stages can be called different things. But the characteristics of each stage, each phase, is the same regardless of research. Regardless of researcher, they have all reached pretty much the same conclusion when it comes to humans.
Yes.
So this research is applicable regardless of culture, gender, age. A group, a team will develop in the same manner, regardless. And they will have the different stages, and people might call them different things. But what's characteristic for any type of team development is you all have to pass the same stages. My behavior, my leadership will reflect upon the culture in a specific way.
Yes.
So that's very interesting. So they all, pretty much reach the same conclusions independent of each other. And they're different. They have different namings for them, but they're both excellent books to give you good guidance in identifying the stages of your team. So if you want to have a common ground on how to discuss what are the phases our team is facing right now and what are the challenges we might take us from there, this is an excellent book.
It is. And if you're looking for a book that would give you tips and tools for what to actually do, this is the one for you. It's awesome. I really highly recommend it. I use it as my own little go-to scout book, so to speak, whenever I need it. It's awesome. And of course, all the books we're talking about here, we will link in the description to the episode as well, so you can find them on the interweb. Big interweb. All right, so the 4th one, the last gift of this session, Kim.
It's a book written by David Allen. He wrote it some time ago, but he's made a new revision. But when he started to write this book, he wrote a book about a model he calls Getting Things Done. This is an awesome model. It helps a lot, but when he started this, we didn't have really very much digital tools then. No. So it's talking about physical calendars, things called file of access in that day and age. But anyway, the thing with David Allen is, how do you cope with this total bombardment of information overload without becoming stressed, unnecessary stressed? And he has a really, really great method for personal efficiency and how to personally manage all this overload of information that's just showering over you. Because you can let that stress you and you will be burned out. Or you can have methods for handling it. And the thing he talks about is we are humans, and human mind works in a tricky manner. So even if I say I don't have time to think about the daily bake-off at my kindergarten, my daughter's kindergarten, if I don't have a method for getting my own mind to drop it, this will be a background process running in my mind. I cannot let it go, even though I might have rational things that I feel are more important. If I started to think about something, you need to have a method that allows your own mental mind to drop it and not taking up resources. And this can be easily summarized: write things down.
Yes.
Yeah, but that's the main message in any case. But he has a really great method, and I feel personally it helps a lot. I will give you a little secret tip here. I use a nice, leather case made for business cards. But people say, hey, Kim, are you still using business cards? No, I'm not using any business cards anymore. I have this little case with blank cards, business card size format that I use for taking my own notes, so I can drop things down when my mind feels like thinking of it. So just to be clear, your mind cannot control when it wants to think about something.
Yep.
David Allen's method for actually allowing your mind to then drop this process for now and focus on something else, and not just having a lot of simultaneously going processes in your mind, that will steal a lot of CPU, that will make you stressed, and then you will burn out eventually.
Yeah.
If you try and keep everything in your head at the same time. That just doesn't work. So read about his Getting Things Done model and how you can actually sort of trick your own mind in order to let things go and not let things stress you.
No.
Unnecessary.
But it's a really good book, and and once again, he is one of those people you can look up on the internet as well, or YouTube. His TED Talks are amazing as well, just like Brene Brown. So if you have the opportunity, and the same goes for Jocko Willink, as we mentioned in the first one, if you want to listen to an inspirational TED Talk, Jocko Willink, David Allen, and Brene Brown are three really, really good people to listen to. And of course, we will link all of these suggestions and book suggestions in the episode. Well, anyways, there is the holidays coming up. We will take a couple of weeks off now, and we'll be back in mid-January with new episodes, and we hope that you continue to follow and listen to us then. But if you want to participate, if you want to ask questions, if you want to add something to the discussion, please visit citynetwork.eu/podcast, and you can see all the episodes, and all the links to the episodes are available there as well.
And we wish you God jul.
God jul.
And a happy new year.
Gott nytt år.
Yes.
Have a good one.